My name is Ruta. I am emotional transformation coach and guide, but most importantly, I'm the most passionate supporter of your success in life. So, whenever you feel anxiety in any situation, the first thing I guess that you feel is, I want this feeling to go away, or I want this situation to go away so that I don't have to feel the anxiety. However, if you are watching this, I'm guessing that you have probably already figured out that it doesn't work that way. Just avoiding the situations that create anxiety or trying to feel something else apart from anxiety, so trying to get rid of the feeling of anxiety when you're feeling it, it doesn't usually work, or it doesn't really work long term. Now, why it is that? Answer is actually simple and also complex. So the simple part is this: anxiety is a symptom, it's not a problem. So the analogy to that would be this: if you have a wound and it is bleeding, the blood and bleeding is not the problem. Problem is that you have the wound. So anxiety is basically the bleeding. Anxiety is the symptom of a problem, of the wound that you have which has not healed. In my field, we call it trauma. Now, when you hear word trauma, probably you think, oh no, I'm not traumatized. Trauma is being in a war. Trauma is kind of like experiencing some horrific abuse or something like that, which is trauma too. However, that's not it. Trauma can be anything, any circumstance, any situation where you have experienced emotional stress and you were not able to properly complete this trauma cycle and process the emotional stress that you were feeling at that moment is trauma. And the problem is not with the fact that we all get traumatized and that the life brings us in the circumstances, or our childhood had circumstances where we have experienced traumatic circumstances. The problem is that we have never completed the trauma cycle. So, in a spiritual community, shamanism, and other types of spirituality, we can call this soul retrieval. From the simple kind of like a emotional and the way our psyche works, imagine that your part of your emotional self is left somewhere in some place where you have never really had resolve in that situation. So every single time when there is something happens that reminds you of that situation, that unresolved emotional stress is being activated, and you experiencing all of these emotions that seem to be like overwhelming, unproportionate, over dramatic, too much, out of control, like call it whichever way you like, but you're experiencing all of these emotions and it feels like, why am I actually feeling it? It's not such an even big deal. Now, it depends on how you look at it. From the other person point of view who never experienced what you have experienced, it might look like not a big deal at all. But what happens for you personally, it actually has become a big deal. If it didn't become a big deal, you wouldn't be feeling these intense emotions and these intense emotional charges in the situation. So what we do in metaphysical anatomy, which is the process that we will be using in this webinar coming up August, I'll put the details in here below so you can sign up. We are actually finding the root cause emotion of the problem that now is translating and giving you the symptoms of anxiety. So this workshop will be specifically designed to work with anxiety. It could be anxiety in relation to particular situation. It could be anxiety in relation to person. It could be anxiety in relation to a situation in a life in general. But the thing is, it's not about the actual symptom, but about what is causing that symptom to translate itself into anxiety and comes up in your life, so that you have to experience that. And yes, that could be like multiple different reasons why you still have that, but in this we will be addressing the root cause of the original causation that manifested in anxiety to you right now. So it will be 1.5 hours, 2 hours, up to 2 hours process, and we will be doing in a group session. And what we will be doing in that, we will be accessing emotional stress stored in your body, and we will be doing it individually to each of you, so that we can pinpoint exact emotions that we have tied in relation to anxiety. We will not only be working with emotions, but also with instinctual responses, because listen to this. Now, when you're experiencing this emotion and you feel like you have no control, and it's kind of just like really strong and there is nothing you can do about it, why is that? Is it because your will is weak? Is it because you don't have control over yourself? Is it because you're an over dramatic person? No, none of those. It is because for you personally, particularly, certain emotions and emotional stress has been recorded and wired together with your body's instinctual reactions. So at the time of a trauma, these emotions have been registered in your system as such a threat that you had to activate your survival mechanism, and those emotions have been like recorded in your library, in your emotional library, your emotional body, in your emotional memory as threats, and they have been linked to your instinctual responses. So what we will be doing, we will be looking at those emotional and instinctual responses and the ties to each other, and we will be unlinking them. And after, we will also be looking into what was the thing that you needed at that point which you didn't have, and we will be looking also if there was somebody else or some sort of ancestry influence on these emotions, because right now science of epigenetic has already discovered, proven, and even discussed in the papers the fact that the thing that is being transferred via DNA is not only the genetical disposition in your body level, it's also emotional predisposition. So we have some inherited patterns even for certain types of emotional stress that has came to us from our ancestry. Not going to go into it too much, but we will be looking at it because it could be a case for you that you also have some of that. So I invite you to sign up for my workshop, for your workshop this August, and we will start looking into actual reasons for your anxiety, and we'll start journey there. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye!